Today I'm going to show you guys how to do gel polish on a really short nail. Hey guys, Liz Morris from the Nail Hub here, and I was in the process of doing my nails in this really fun glittery summer squeeze collection from My Elegance. And I started doing an extension on this finger, and then I was like, you know what? I always show extensions. I always show how to do long nails because that's kind of my whole thing. I love doing gel extensions. And then I started thinking that I do often give out tips on how to do really short nails with gel polish because even though some of you are thinking, Liz, that's not really short, whenever there's skin sticking out past the end of the fingernail, it makes a nail technician's job much more difficult because it's very difficult to cap the end of the nail with gel without getting gel on the skin. So how do we do this? Okay, so to start, I'm going to show you guys everything that you need. Let me back out just a little bit here. Okay, so you're going to need a nail file. I usually stick with 180 grit nail files because I can use them for both natural nails as well as artificial nails. So 180 grit is a great place to start. You will maybe need a buffer, or you can use an e-file if you want to do your manicure work with that. You will need a base coat, you'll need a color, obviously, you'll need a top coat, and I am using H2, which is a highlighter series color. It's very bright, and I thought it would go with the other pink that I already have on my nails. So we have our base, our color, our top. You will need a nail form, potentially 10 nail forms if you're going to do this on all 10 nails. You'll need a cuticle pusher, you will need wipes, and you will need some cleanser, aka isopropyl alcohol. But if you guys watched my cleanser video, I like to put a little bit of acetone in my isopropyl alcohol to really help dehydrate and get those nails squeaky clean. Or if you don't like using wipes, you can also use a scrubby manicure brush to do this as well. It works just as well as anything else. Okay, so let's first start with the most important piece about any manicure is we want to do our preparation of the nail plate. Now, there's differing opinions on when you should cleanse the nail. You can double down if you want to. You can cleanse the nail and sanitize the nail with your gel cleanser, you know, your isopropyl alcohol, acetone mix if you want to before you start even working on the nail. I typically don't, and that's just my personal preference. It has served me well, so I have never needed a reason to change. So what I usually do is I have the client wash their hands before the appointment, but I don't worry about actually squeaky clean cleaning their nails until I'm done with everything because I'm going to have to do a lot of work on their nails anyway, okay? So we're going to take a cuticle pusher, and you're just going to gently push back the skin, just in a nice straight direction. Don't do any swirly, swoopy, slidey things. Just nice and gentle, straight back. Very gentle. And really when you do this, you want to put pressure back like this, not down into the nail plate, okay? That's how you cause damage. Your nail grows from here, the matrix back here. So if you put a lot of downward pressure on the gentle area of your matrix that's back under here under the skin, you can actually damage your natural nail and it'll start to grow really weird. So just keep that pusher nice and parallel to the nail, nice and gentle. And literally for most of you, this is going to be enough. If you want to get crazy into the Russian manicuring, e-file manicuring, you want to go wild with nippers, you can do so. But for all intents and purposes, all you need to do is get that skin released and pushed back away from the nail plate, and then you can go forward with prepping it. The other thing you can do at this point, I typically will perfect the shape if I need to. So since this is a natural nail, you can do the filing into the center. You can file one direction. Again, since I typically work with gel products and the nails always have product on, I don't usually worry about filing in one direction because I don't keep my nails natural. I keep them under product. So the whole shredding the natural nail and having it potentially crack and flake it doesn't really apply. But if you're very nitpicky and you want to do filing into the center or filing all in one direction, you can absolutely do that. Okay, so you can just round out. I also recommend for really short nails, you don't try and go square because the corners are going to get a lot of pressure on them. And when you have square corners, they tend to snap, break, and the gel peels. So round out your corners, especially when you're trying to grow out your nails. And then you're going to take a buffer. I use buffers that are almost like a nail file. They're about 180 grit. And so I can use a buffer. And I like the buffer because it's nice and squishy and it kind of conforms to the nail. You can also equally use the exact same nail file that you just used. If you're going to use your nail file, all you're going to do is just gently, I like to use the rounded edge like this. I go gently around and kind of do these like random circular motions. And that just helps me not only clean up any dead material that's on the nail while keeping the nail dry, but it also gently etches the surface of my nail, very gently. Okay, so if I remove that, you can see like it just kind of naturally removes that shine, that natural shine in our nail. Or if you want to, you can also use a nice gritty buffer. So same thing, and you can just kind of random directions. You don't want to make the nail smooth. What you're trying to do is you're trying to make the nail a little bit textured so that the gel has something to grip to it. So even though we're using a buffer, which buffers usually are associated with smoothing things, we want to use that buffer in lots of different directions, and we want to use a gritty buffer so that we end up with a very textured, chalky nail, okay? And I'm not going to worry about the skin on here because that's I don't want to go crazy cutting. This will get remoisturized. This is just where my hyponychium used to be when I had really long nails. That'll go away with time. And also, I literally don't have hardly any cuticle to nip. If you wanted to, you can, but when you get this close to the real skin, you're running the risk of cutting way too much. So when nails look like this, I literally just clean them all up, and you'll see after I do my cleanser how nice they look, just with those really 3 steps, okay? So put some cleanser on there, get it nice and scrubbed. And I like to kind of go back and forth, make sure all the debris is out of the sidewalls, and then let that nail completely dry. And the acetone in my mix will really help. Now you'll see 2 spots here. See how those 2 spots didn't get chalky like the rest of my nail? That's just residual product from whatever I had on before. So if you have a little bit of gel left over and you see some spots like that, as long as it's not lifting or it's not white, just leave it alone. It'll be totally fine. It won't cause a problem, okay? So just make sure that nail is completely dry. Don't blow on it with your mouth, but you can definitely fan it with your hand if you want to, or just give it a second. And if you're doing all 10 nails, by the time you get to the 10th nail, your nails, you can go back to the first one and they'll be nice and dry and ready for application. So the trick to doing really short nails with gel polish is to use a nail form. And typically nail forms, we use them for creating extensions. We use them for creating longer nails, artificial length on our nails, but they can also be used as like a barrier. And you could absolutely use something like Scotch tape, or actually what I like to use if I don't have a nail file, I actually like to use blue painter's tape. So for those of you DIYers who don't own forms and you already have gel and you're like, I just need help figuring out how to do this better, painter's tape is a great thing. Because it's nice and flexible and it's meant for being a barrier with paint. And I'm not going to try and get this all open right now, but basically you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to block off the skin just on the end of your nail, and you're going to do exactly what you would do with a form. So let me show you, for all my professionals out there that need help with clients in the salon, I'm going to help you guys out. So you've got your nail form, you're going to apply them, and you don't have to be as careful because really the only part that you're worried about is making sure that the skin is covered and you've got, you know, good connection between the nail form and the natural nail, okay? So just make sure that, like, you know, right here in this zone, you're good. It's all straight, it's all, you know, well connected. And even if it doesn't go under the nail, like you'll see that right here where my nail is super, super short, it's actually not going under the nail, that's okay. You're just gonna close it nice and evenly, and the idea is we wanna pull the skin down. So we're gonna do this a little bit tightly, like that, okay? So can you see how I was able to block all that skin that's at the end of my finger, and now I've just got nail onto form? And even though we're just going to use gel polish, I can still do this. I'm not worried about down here because I'm not making an extension. I'm not worried about how this is going to twist over time with the length and all that. I'm just worried about creating a barrier on the skin once I go past that natural nail, okay? And I'll show you exactly what I do. So I'm going to start with my base coat. I'm using Estemio base gel. You can really use almost any base coat for this. If you're using something really, really thin, you might need to do a couple coats of base just so that, you know, you've got enough of a connection. But what we're going to do is we're going to use our nail form to not only really cap the end of this natural nail, but we're also just going to go slightly past it, because what we can do at the end is we can file the gel polish a little bit and almost create a microscopic extension on the nail. Okay? So I usually, I can go right on top of my form. I'm not worried about getting gel on the end of the form. All I'm really worried about is getting the base coat nicely applied onto the natural nail and also making sure that I cap that really well. And then we're going to cure this for 30 seconds in an LED or 2 minutes in a CFL. Okay, so I cured my base. I'm not going to remove my form just yet. I'm actually going to go forward with my gel polish. And this is really the key because it allows you to apply even a hot pink or a red or whatever without staining the nail, without getting the gel all over the skin. And that rough skin at the end, especially if you're working on bitten nails, is really hard to work on. So we're just going to apply our gel polish. And again, you can do this on all 10 fingers. Put forms on all 10 fingers. I just had one free nail, so I figured I'd show you guys. And just apply your gel polish like you normally do. Okay, so we're going to do one nice even coat. Not too thick, not too thin. Again, capping the free edge. If you get a little bit on the form, which you'll be able to see it now with some color, it's okay. My goal here is to really be able to cap the end of that nail without touching the skin. Can you guys see that? Okay, so cure this again, 30 seconds in an LED or 2 minutes in a CFL. Okay, so now I'm going to do my second coat of color. This time I'm going to try and get even more perfect application so that I've got nice, solid, opaque color. You can even get a little bit closer to the cuticle area if you want to. And I'm just doing a quick and dirty tutorial for you guys today, so if you want to get crazy with, you know, again, like the Russian style, you know, getting it ridiculously close to the skin, getting it super duper duper clean. By the way, if you guys are looking for a way to do that, one of the best ways I ever learned how to get it really close without using the gel on the actual application brush. This brush tends to, it's got a lot of gel up on the brush and on the bristles, and it tends to overdo it. So one way that you can actually, if you need to, let me find a good brush here real quick. Like even like a little brush like this, if you have like a little nail brush like this, you can actually just take the product that's even on the nail, and or you can put a little bit more on there if you need to, and you can actually just swoop it closer to the skin and perfect that cuticle area, okay? Because you're able to get in like really nitty-gritty areas with a little striper brush. So that's what a lot of people do, is they use that instead of the brush that's in the bottle. Okay, so again, cure one more time. Okay, so I have all of that done, and I'm even going to do my top coat because if I want to protect the color and I don't want to get any grit on it, the best thing to do is to have top coat on it because you can still file without damaging your color. So I'm just going to use top coat here, and I just grabbed whichever one I had. This one's like a little bit of a thicker top coat, but it doesn't matter. This is the Estemio top, extension top, which is just a little bit thicker of a gel. I tend to like thicker top coats. I don't know why. I think it's because it just stays, and then you can kind of fill in little spots here and there, okay? And we're going to file this back to the natural length we had, so don't worry about any rough edges. If you do want to do a little bit of like perfecting, you know, if like you've got a really short nail that flares, like my nails naturally flare out. I mean, you could pinch them, I guess, if you really wanted to, but most people, you're just doing gel polish on your natural shape. So you just leave it alone, okay? So then I have my top coat on, let it self-level if it needs to, and then you're gonna do your final cure. All right, so I've got everything cured. I'm gonna take another clean wipe with my gel cleanser. Just pump that on there. Okay, and then I'm just going to clean off that inhibition layer. Don't worry about the form because the form will end up coming off as you do this. And then you can just pinch on both sides of the form, and it should just pull away like that. And you'll be left with like this weird scraggly stuff on the end of your fingernail. But again, the whole idea is that deep down in there is my natural nail that I would have gotten all of that pink gel all over my skin. Then you're trying to clean it up with acetone, or you're trying to clean it up with alcohol, and it just stains and it gets everywhere. So this really allows you to make sure that you've got the nail well capped, means that the customer is not going to wear through their gel, which, you know, soak-off gel is a softer product. So just by using the end of her finger over a 2-week period, or maybe even a week period, depending on, you know, how short her nails are and how used to it she is using her natural nails, she'll end up wearing through the gel polish, and then pretty soon her natural nails exposed on the end. So that's usually why you see gel polish peeling and lifting on the free edge, especially, we all know as nail technicians, it's very difficult to work on short nails because it's hard to guarantee the longevity of the product. And also for you DIYers that are struggling to apply, maybe you're trying to grow your nails, you're trying to apply gel polish for the first time, and you're like, I'm getting it everywhere, this is such a pain in the neck. So this is a great way to do it. So all of this is cured. And obviously it's going to be very bendy because all it is just base, two coats of color, and top coat. But now what we can do is we can take our nail file and we can just file our nail as if it were a real fingernail. Okay, and again, it's product, so I don't have to go in one direction. I can go back and forth. I'm just going to round out the corners. Don't go all the way down to your natural nail, okay, because we only went past it just a teeny bit. You don't want to see your natural nail peeking through. You want to see just product. Okay, so just nice and gentle, a little bit at a time, perfect the shape, and then I got a little bit hanging off right here that I'm just going to go back and fix. Okay. No big deal. I can round all that out. See how this is still product right here. My natural nail is not there yet. So I could absolutely use the tips of my fingers, accidentally wear through a little bit of my soak off gel polish over time over the next 2 weeks, and I still won't get lifting on the free edge because I'm not up to my natural nail. We're not doing a lot of artificial work on this nail. We're not pinching them. We're not making them perfect. We're not, perfecting the length and shape. So if you have just a client that wants to rock their natural nail shape and their natural nails, and they just want to make sure that the gel is going to stay and it's capped, this is a really great way to do that. All right. So hope that helps. Hope you guys are all doing well, and I will see you next time. Bye.